The Nissan Heisman House is back. Rush over to NissanHeismanHouse.com to enter for a chance to win a new Nissan Titan. No purchase necessary. Ends December 8th, 2017. Open to residents of the USDC 18 or older. Official rules at NissanUSA.com/Heisman House sweepstakes.
Pardon the interruption, but I'm Mike Wilbon. It was my birthday yesterday, Tony. Guess how old I am?
I'm Tony Kornheiser.
Come on.
82?
Hey!
Really?
What are you talking about?
Well, I'm 10 years older than you, and I'm 90. So I figure you got to be getting a little bit over 80 at this point.
I'm getting too close to another number.
Yeah, but I passed.
Well,
that number is so far in the rearview mirror. Don't worry about that number.
What's the next number?
Worry about the next
All
number.
right.
Welcome to PTI, boys and girls. In today's episode, the Cowboys smell,
Stink.
the Broncos stink,
Really stink.
and Nathan
Whoa!
Peterman,
Whoa,
your boy,
really stinks.
But we begin today with the Minnesota Vikings, who distinguished themselves yesterday by winning the battle of the 7-2s, beating the Los Angeles Rams convincingly 24-7. The Rams went up 7-0 and did not score again. The Vikings defense throttled the number one scoring team in the NFL, and Case Keenum quieted all talk, I hope, about Teddy Bridgewater, particularly from the Vikings coach. Wilbon, does this win elevate the Vikings to the Eagles level in your mind?
Just about, Tony, because you know my history of what I prefer in football. I prefer defense. But I know it's a new day. It's a new game. It's been that way for 10 years at least. And what I'm wondering is Case Keenum capable of this in January? Look, that's what we're getting at here. Now, we don't know whether the Eagles quarterback is capable of it in January either because he hadn't done it.
That's right.
But the thing is, you're not going to get conditions in a Rams-Vikings rematch because you're either going to be in L.A. or in a big glass-roofed building. So maybe the Vikings and their ability to play defense even indoors, Tony, maybe that's going to serve them well enough to be even with the Eagles. So I got them a half step below.
I have them a little bit below because I don't think they have the run power that the Eagles have with Ajayi and with LeGarrette Blount. I don't think their quarterback goes down the field in the way that Carson Wentz
He doesn't go down
the field. So I have them a little bit.
But what about defense and specials?
They're better. They're better on that. Yeah. What's interesting is we're 10 games now. So we're at the point where trends become obvious.
Yes, you can judge.
Now, granted, they won that game at home, which is a big advantage. And granted, there was that one moment where the fumble was at the 1 by the Rams, and you think that they're going to go in, and that changes the dynamic. Right. But I think you look at Minnesota right now, and you say that they've passed all the tests to this point.
The other thing is some of these players have had,
and their coach has to shut up about benching Case Keenum.
Their team, they got some guys on their team, probably double-digit guys, who have what I think is requisite. A couple of years ago, they had a massive playoff failure against the Seahawks. And, Tony, I think playoff failure serves you well if you can keep some of those guys together and they can continue to play. So I think they might be right there, ahead of the Rams, and maybe a step below the Eagles. Is that fair?
So far. Yes, that's true.
Right.
So far.
The NFL best Philadelphia Eagles had an easier opponent to beat up. The Dallas Cowboys, settling into their time without Ezekiel Elliott, looked like they should have been part of Cupcake Saturday. I'm sure Jerry Jones will blame Roger Goodell. The Cupcakes actually led 9-7 at halftime, but the Eagles laid an unanswered 30 on them in the second half. The Eagles are now 9-1. While the Cupcakes dropped to 5-5, and they've been outscored by 48 the past 2 games. Tony, your Cowboys
They can't be my Cowboys.
They're done now, aren't they?
You tell me they're my Redskins. They can't be my Redskins.
This big glamour team, you adopt all of them. Okay. Are they done?
Yeah, they're done. Unless Ezekiel Elliott
walking
shows
through that
up,
door?
well, with a mustache and goatee like Bobby Valentine some years back.
Right.
Because you cannot overestimate how important he is. Now, everybody wants to say that running backs are fungible and they can be replaced. This guy's a great running back at this point, and his absence has not only hurt his team, it's hurt Dak Prescott. Yeah. It has really hurt Prescott.
Yeah.
In the 23 drives that the Cowboys have had since Elliott went out, they have 1 touchdown. And this is what has happened to Dak Prescott, who has suffered tremendously. In the 2 games without Elliott, he has 6 turnovers. He's been sacked 12 times. His QBR...
His left tackle not being there doesn't help.
I understand.
There.
His QBR is 26.7. It was 78 before. So Elliott killed 2 people with 1 stone.
Yeah, he did, Tony, because Dak Prescott, in his entire existence as a Dallas Cowboy quarterback, a year and a half,
hands the ball.
Or he fakes the handoff. That's play action.
Whatever.
When you have play action, when you're Dak Prescott, you don't have to go out there just winging it all the time. You've got this dual threat that allows you to be so effective and efficient. And the Cowboys don't have that. I think they're done as well. I think that their owner is a distraction to the whole team the entire week. I think his mood and his, behavior negatively affects his team.
But you can understand, looking at Ezekiel Elliott, which is to their offense what Aaron Rodgers is to the Green Bay offense, you can understand how much he wants to crush Roger Goodell.
Yeah.
But you know what needs to be pointed out?
What?
That last year was the outlier. Last year at 13-3.
But they had them both.
The 5 years before that, they were 40-40. They're not that good.
No.
They're not.
No.
They're
they
yours.
Have a chance to do that. No,
The Kansas City Chiefs lost their 4th game in 5 tries yesterday, and this one to the terrible New York Giants, who have apparently given up scoring touchdowns for Lent. The Chiefs, who started off 5-0, are now 6-4, and yet they remain 2 games clear in their terrible division. Well, but are you done with the Chiefs, or do you hold open the possibility they can put it back together?
I hold open the possibility they can put it back together for 2 reasons.
Tell me why.
One is Andy Reid. Andy Reid's a hell of a coach. It doesn't mean you can't go through a bad patch, and they're going through a bad patch. But Andy Reid can do 2 things. He can rally his locker room in a way that few coaches can. Usually that takes 2 or 3 veteran players. Andy Reid can do this because we've seen him do it in multiple places. And I think also, Tony, strategically, Andy Reid has a kind of staff where they will figure out, when they look at the tape, they'll figure out things they can do differently that will enhance their ability to win. I'm not giving up on them.
Let me go to Andy Reid for a second, who we both agree is a very fine coach. But one of the things, the backbone of Andy Reid's resume, is that he never loses coming out of a bye week.
Never does.
16-2 overall. Now he's 16-3. He had never lost to a team below 500.
They were awful.
And the Giants are as far below 500 as anybody except you Browns.
What they do, the Giants were due to play reasonably at home.
Okay, but in this particular, they didn't score any touchdowns. Here's Kansas City
Tony.
getting 9 points. The Giants in the last 2 games gave up 82.
Yeah.
That's 9 squared plus 1, and the Kansas City Chiefs got 9 points. Now, their division stinks. Denver is terrible. I know you have no faith in the Chargers whatsoever.
No, and the Raiders.
And I would tell you the Raiders are the most disappointing
in the
team
league this year.
In all of the NFL.
Yeah.
I would tell you that.
Yeah.
So I think they're okay as far as that goes, but you cannot walk them into the playoffs where they're not very good coming out of something like this.
Well, you can walk anybody into the playoffs this year because everybody stinks except the New England Patriots.
New England doesn't stink.
Okay, well, they shouldn't get them right away because it wouldn't be the sort of bottom seed playing against New England.
Tom Brady went for another 335.
Okay, so you got to avoid New England in the first round. But nobody's any good other than maybe Philadelphia, who we have not seen tested in January.
Philadelphia was good.
New England. So you can march Kansas City into the playoffs. You can. They're going to be there. I'm not giving up on them.
Okay, but I don't think at the moment they look like a serious contender.
Well, how many serious contenders are there in the AFC? Tell me, how many?
Well, certainly Pittsburgh and New England.
Pittsburgh, really?
Sure, they're 8
you sure?
Sure, yeah.
With the losses they got?
Sure, because they've got a running back and a wide receiver.
They got a Hall of Fame quarterback, too. We've done 3 stories in this block, and we have not yet talked about the biggest dope this season in the NFL. Sean McDermott, if I own the team, would be former coach Sean McDermott. For some unbeknownst reason, he's still employed and trying to make up his mind as to who will play quarterback for his team this week. This comes after benching Tyrod Taylor in favor of your boy, Nathan Peterman,
my boy,
who threw 5 picks and a half yesterday, contributing mightily to the San Diego Chargers, scoring 54.
Well, Los Angeles Chargers now.
Okay,
but it's okay.
McDermott said he doesn't regret his decision to start Peterman, just a result. Are you kidding? Tony, isn't this on the short list for all-time stupid coaching decisions in any sport?
Okay, so early in the morning when I had you on the podcast, do you remember what I said about this guy?
You said the guy would still be at the road site trying to get home.
I said I wouldn't let him on the plane to come back from California. I would not do that. Tyrod Taylor has thrown 3 interceptions the whole year. Now, I know we had a bad game against New Orleans. I understand the impulse to say, let's shake something up. But you went to a kid who threw 4 interceptions in his first 9 passes and 5.5. He should not have gotten to 5. He should not have gotten to 4. That's not fair. You've made this kid a national punchline.
Well, he should be the punchline.
It's not right. It's
He's
not
the
fair.
joke. The coach is the joke.
So I would not have done that. I wonder, I see him all the time. He's jacked, this guy McDermott. He looks like he's always wearing a skin-tight shirt.
How'd they help him?
Because he looks like Tim Tebow.
Did they help his team yesterday?
No.
They gave up 54
what
to a
does he know about
team.
offense? The answer would be nothing.
Tony.
And what does he know about defense? Because here's another number. He's a defensive coordinator. The last 3 games, his team has given up 135 points.
You know, he says he's got to do some assessing.
Of what?
Who's assessing him?
Yeah.
Who's asleep? Okay, paging Bill Polian, can you come back and run this team? Because what they've done is he kill the locker room. Well, the thing we always talk about with players.
This could spike the
what would
locker
they tell you
room in
all
half.
the time?
No, this is terrible.
It kills your locker room. It kills your morale. You were in the wild card hunt, and you went out there and you brought in a kid who shouldn't be brought in, who we shouldn't even be teasing and ripping.
No.
We should be ripping the dopey
that's what we're doing.
coach.
You know what the kid looked like? He looked like a goalie who was letting in 4 goals on,
and then looking at the bench, hoping to be replaced.
Take him out. It's so unfair.
Fired.
The Denver Broncos, who always used to be your team, they're awful at the moment.
They are.
They have no quarterback, including your boy, to speak of, and they have now lost 6 games in a row, including yesterday to Cincinnati. Their team president and resident hero, your idol, John Elway, has publicly called the team, quote, a little bit soft, unquote. Wilbon, who is more responsible for Denver's 6-game slide, John Elway or the players he blames?
They're all responsible, and there's nobody
Who's more
needs to fire anybody. They won a Super Bowl a couple of years ago.
Who's more responsible?
The players.
Okay,
the players
take a stand.
Slightly, but John signed the players. It's okay. You don't win a Super Bowl every year. They won a Super Bowl. Let me ask you this: How many people are walking around with 2 Super Bowl rings as a player and 1 as an executive?
Very few, other than John Elway, but some people on New England.
Really? Were they primary winners of Super Bowls as a player and an executive? I don't think so.
Not as both.
No. John Elway. So, you know what? It's a tough patch, so get over it. He should have called them all soft as Charmin. He didn't go far enough. And if he makes them angry at him and he can galvanize them that way, so be it.
I'll tell you what I think he's responsible for. He's responsible for bad quarterbacks. I don't think that Simeon and certainly Osweiler is any good at all. Elway was right to let Osweiler go. I have no idea why he brought him back. That's a no-hope situation. But Denver, calling them soft, their defense is number 3 in yards against. Number 3.
Matter?
Wait. Number 27 in points against, and that's off turnovers. They're minus 16 in turnovers,
Mike. He's trying to push their buttons. This is not about strategery. He's trying to get them angry. John Elway knows what motivates a locker room.
He said it before the Cincinnati game, and they lost. But they lost.
You can say it every day.
Don't you think players are tremendously offended by the notion of being soft? That's
the point.
That's the word.
The point is to offend them. The point is to make them angry at him. Do something to make them angry and take it out on somebody else on Sunday.
So you know what
they're not doing that.
So you know who they took it out on? They took it out on the offensive coordinator. Mike McCoy got fired. Now
fired him today.
Here's what happens with Mike McCoy. He got fired less than a year ago by the then San Diego Chargers.
Yeah.
Now he's fired
working his way through the division
by the second team in the AFC West. Go East, young man. Go East. Get out of the West. Let's take a break. Coming up, should we praise the Saints for a stirring comeback?
Yes.
Or did the Redskins just choke like dogs?
Yes.
Okay.
And the punishment is in for Baker Mayfield and his package handling. We'll tell you whether it fits the offense.
You're not as high on Baker Mayfield as I am, are you?
I got a 2-word hyphenated thing for Baker Mayfield.
Can we say it on the air?
Bass is like a fish. It rhymes with that.
No.
Pardon the Interruption is presented by Sky Vodka. Make every day. Please drink responsibly. Part of Happy Hour.
I'm Jody Avirgan. Have you heard of Blue Apron? Well, now you have. Blue Apron's mission is to make incredible home cooking accessible to everyone. The country's #1 fresh ingredient and recipe service, fresh, high-quality ingredients make the difference, so it's important to know where your food comes from. Plus, it's affordable, easy, and full of surprises. Check out this week's menu and get your first 3 meals for free with free shipping. Go to blueapron.com/30 for 30.
Welcome back to Pardon the Interruption, presented by Sky Vodka, part of Happy Hour.
It's mail time where you pick the topics without any apparent qualifications to do so.
That's right. Change quarterbacks. Feel free. What's first?
Did the Redskins beat themselves?
No. They made it so New Orleans would beat them. The Redskins, for those who don't know, were up 15 points with 3+ minutes to go.
Yeah.
And, Tony, a couple times they didn't go for it on 4th and 1, so on a 3rd and 1, they couldn't make it. They had a crazy penalty on the drive in which it seemed they could win the game there at the end. They didn't tackle a guy who was going in the end zone, bobbling the ball. They gave him a 2-point conversion and then a long kick in overtime. They made it so Drew Brees could just go out there and laugh at them and beat them, and yes, they did choke.
People have been talking all year about the running game of the Saints. Well, they didn't have enough time for the running
No, they
game,
didn't.
so they gave the ball to Drew Brees. Drew Brees went 11 for 11 on those final two drives. So New Orleans beat the Redskins. Did the Redskins gag? Of course they gagged. The saving grace in this particular, and by the way, if Jay Gruden doesn't get into next year, it'll be because of this game.
Really?
Because of
I'm
saying
is the
if
one?
he doesn't. Well, yeah, this is the heartbreaking defeat. But the Redskins also have their last 6 games. There's not a single team in the last 6 at above 500.
But they lost their leading rusher and receiver for the year with a broken leg.
Yeah, but they're playing garbage.
The Giants twice.
They're playing garbage.
Giants coming off a win. Is your team coming off a win? You don't like that, do you? How should Mike McCarthy feel about the time he spent developing Brett Hundley?
He should feel that the time would have been better spent either building a deck or getting a very large television antenna and attaching it to the roof of his house to get signals from outer space, because Brett Hundley can't play. He just can't
Doesn't
play.
look like it.
They didn't score any points. When he was being rushed, his statistic was -1 yard per pass attempt under the rush, and his whatever the rating is, it's like 19.4. So look, Aaron Rodgers is great. Brett Hundley is not only not Aaron Rodgers, he's not Mr. Rodgers at this point. It doesn't work. He had no touchdowns and 3 picks.
We say this week after week, and we'll say it again. There are not enough starting quarterbacks to go around. So there's nobody out there, Tony, who's going to lose a top-tier quarterback starter. And Aaron Rodgers is so much more than that. He's
He's the most valuable guy.
So you're not going to lose a Hall of Famer and be worth a damn the rest of the year.
No.
So I'm not going to scream and holler at Brett Hundley. It's like getting on Nathan Peterman. It's unfair. They're not up to it. They're not.
Does Cam Chancellor's injury doom the Seahawks?
Yes, it dooms the Legion of Boom, I suspect, Tony. And I saw them play last week in the desert, that game. I was there for that game.
With those unis?
The unis are terrible.
Yeah.
The unis are terrible on Thursday night because they try to go monochromatic. Cam Chancellor out, Richard Sherman out. Every defense goes through this after a period of time. You hope to get 9 or 10 years. Most times you don't get that anymore. You're
9 or 10 years is tremendous.
You're lucky to get 5 or 6.
Yes.
And so we've seen the great defenses reduced. Seattle's identity is that. I know they can go out there and occasionally put up a boatload of points and outscore you, but that's not going to be the way they get deep in the playoffs.
Really, because I'm gonna speak to that very point. That Richard Sherman's absence doesn't doom them and Cam Chancellor's absence. So no.
Yeah, it does.
Here's what would doom them.
What?
If Russell Wilson stinks the joint out. Because they have to have offense now. That was the way they beat
can't get enough.
the Houston Texans, if you remember that. They scored a whole lot of points. So all the focus now is on Russell Wilson. Tonight they play Atlanta in the Monday night game. Atlanta shows signs of coming to life. I think they're going to have to score 25 or more to win the game.
But my point is they can't do that consistently.
Well,
they can't do that a bunch.
They're going to have to. They ain't got the other thing now.
Did Baker Mayfield deserve to be benched for the start of Oklahoma's next game for grabbing his crotch Saturday?
No. He apologized immediately after the game. This thing was started by the Kansas players right there. They wouldn't shake his hand at the coin toss.
They weren't
Kansas?
looking at him.
Really? Kansas?
He might have spit on his hands.
You know what happened to this kid?
What?
He is now the Grayson Allen of college football.
Going straight
and
past
everything
Johnny
he does.
Manziel?
Yes, I'm going to Grayson Allen. Because he's a great player. Everything that he does is totally scrutinized. Grabbing your crotch. Every pop concert in America has both men and women singing, grabbing their crotches.
I don't care if he grabbed his crotch, but I think that Baker Mayfield, I know he behaves like a creep. We've seen the video of him and the police. We've seen his behavior at games.
Yeah.
So we know that alcohol
you got him as
was
Johnny
involved
Manziel.
in one of those.
You got him as Manziel, not Grayson Allen.
Well, it's certainly more like Manziel, which is true to his own sport. Baker Mayfield can flat out play.
Think he's going to win the Heisman?
Probably will.
He's great.
Because
Great
it doesn't
player.
seem to be people have receded who were having great first halves of the college basketball. But he behaves like a creep. And you know what? Somebody ought to get a hold of this kid and say, look at this kid named Manziel, who is better than you, and he has no future in professional football, partly because he was a jerk more often than not. Don't be that.
But the crotch grabbing is
incidental.
Enough email. Let's take one last break. Still to come. Your Browns fell to 0-10 yesterday. But did something happen this morning that could turn around their season? Did they get Ezekiel Elliott?
Jim Brown came back?
Yeah.
The Celtics go for their 16th in a row tonight in Dallas. Will they get it?
Brian Sipe has decided to play.
Man, that was were they the Cardinals?
I just saved hundreds of dollars by switching to Geico. I've never felt more alive. Disclaimer. Geico cannot guarantee you will feel more alive. You either possess functioning respiratory and circulatory systems, or you do not, or you are a zombie. If you are indeed a brain-starved zombie and you would like to save money on car insurance, the Geico legal team applauds your excellent life choices, even in your shambling afterlife. But we strongly encourage you to visit geico.com or download the Geico app. Please stay a minimum of 500 feet away from our large and presumably delicious, delicious brains.
Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more.
Pardon the Interruption is presented by Sky Vodka. Make every day. Please drink responsibly. Part of Happy Hour.
Happy time, people. Happy 56th birthday, Jim Mora Jr. This was yesterday, the day that UCLA relieved Mora of command with one game left in the season.
Man.
As they say in Glengarry Glen Ross, first place, Cadillac Eldorado. Second place, steak knives. Third place,
You're fired.
Moore was 46-30 in almost 5 full years at UCLA, but he was 4-8 last year, 5-6 this year with a surefire first-round pick at quarterback, Josh Rosen.
You think they didn't know they were firing on his birthday, or do they just not give a damn at UCLA?
I think both are true.
Are they're that heartless now? I'm gonna start
Happy
to hate
anniversary,
them.
Jack Taylor. On this day 5 years ago, the 5'10 guard from Division III Grinnell College set the NCAA record for points scored by lighting up Faith Baptist Bible College for 138 points. That's right, 138. Is Jack Taylor in the NBA now? No, he is not. He's no longer in basketball. But you tell me which one and done is going to break that record.
The ball kid will try. Is he eligible? Is he back? Is he back in action?
No, the third ball kid is going to try.
Okay.
And a melancholy happy trails to Terry Glenn, the All-American wide receiver at Ohio State and 7th overall pick of the New England Patriots in 1996. Died at the age of 43 early this morning in a car accident in Texas. Glenn never lived up to the billing in the NFL, but he caught 44 touchdown passes over a 12-year career in New England, Green Bay, and Dallas. And Terry Glenn is in the history books because he caught Tom Brady's first NFL touchdown pass in 2001.
Difficult day, Tony, in sports. Yana Novotná, only 49 years old. She won a slam. She won a Wimbledon in 1998.
Yeah.
She's passed away as well.
Yeah. No errors today. We go to the big finish.
Let's do it, Tony.
Browns owners Jimmy and Dee Haas met with the team today to help figure out a way to win. Do you think that's going to help?
The Giants and the Cardinals have both reportedly made offers for Giancarlo Stanton. Who would you rather play for?
It's a great place to play if you're a baseball player, St. Louis. But is
The ballpark's too big.
Is it close to Pebble?
No.
Is it close to Cypress?
No.
Number 20 Northwestern lost by 36 points to Texas Tech on your birthday. Your thoughts?
I got a football whitewash of Minnesota to celebrate on my birthday, too. How about that? I'll get to basketball. We'll be all right in a little bit. Lonzo Ball had a triple-double against the Nuggets. That's a big deal, is it not?
Every time he does well is a big deal for him because he is struggling
Reinforces
at this stage.
confidence.
Last
that.
one, Celtics go for their 16th in a row at the Mavs. You like their chances?
It feels like a trap game. But they had one of those at Atlanta, too, and they won that. I'm going to go with the Celtics again, Tony.
We're out of time. We'll try and do better the next time, and I'm Tony Kornheiser.
Looking at their schedule, man, they could go like 21 in a row. I'm Mike Wilbon, same time tomorrow, Knuckleheads. And we now send it to Susie Kalber and the Monday Night Countdown crew in Seattle.
Send us a big box of fish from the Pike Street Market, preferably salmon.
Tony, you're going to have to wait for the fish.
Stupid rubber duck. Oh, I bet this is Mariota's room. Whoa, I get that he went to Oregon, but a pond-themed room seems a little weird. I was just looking for Mariota.
Hey, what's going on out there?
I told you we should have just gone to HeismanHouse.com, but no, we had to go to the house. We could have voted for this year's Heisman winner from the safety of our computers.